Welcome to Topic 6, Coaching Interaction Style. This topic will provide you with a brief overview of coaching in early childhood intervention.
As briefly mentioned in previous topics, this diagram illustrates the evidence-based approach to early intervention in the Babies Can't Wait program. This part of the framework informs the type of interactions between professionals and families.
As we begin this topic, take a moment to think about these questions related to the types of coaching you have experienced in the past, as well as their similarities and differences. Are these familiar venues in which you have experienced coaching?
The Merriam-Webster Dictionary provides this definition of coaching. Based on our review of the literature and research studies related to coaching, this is an evidence-based definition of coaching in early intervention.
When using parent-implemented practices, as recommended in the early intervention literature, coaching includes these two primary purposes.
Now consider how this definition in early intervention matches the definitions of the type of coaching you have experienced or even provided in the past.
Some of the possible differences are listed on this slide. One distinguishing feature of coaching in early intervention is the non-hierarchical relationship between the coach and coachee. Both bring information to the partnership, which is based on the coachee's need for support. The coaching you may have experienced in the past could be similar to coaching in early intervention if it includes observation, demonstration, and supporting the coachee in developing new skills.
Coaching is not a new concept in education. In fact, the characteristics of coaching are consistent with how all people learn, and coaching is an accepted practice for working with children with disabilities in the fields of education, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech-language pathology. Research indicates that coaching yields positive outcomes in general education, special education, and for collaboration between the two.
Coaching in early intervention is founded on the key principles of adult learning, based on the learner's priorities, intrinsic motivation, respect for the learner, active engagement, and time for the learner to practice the new skills. Adult learning research tells us that the coach must take into consideration the coachee's prior knowledge, past experiences, and preferred learning style.
Research indicates that for coaching to be effective, the coaching interactions must contain these 5 characteristics. The characteristics are evidenced within interactions randomly and naturally rather than in a set order. Within a given coaching interaction, a single characteristic may be present multiple times.
Every coaching interaction begins with a review of the previous joint plan that the parent had agreed to implement between the coaching visits. Each interaction should also end with a 2-part plan created by the coach and the parent. The first part of the plan is what the parent agrees to do related to what was tried, demonstrated, and discussed during the visit between now and the next visit. The second part of the plan is what activity setting will be the focus of the next visit to determine when the coach and parent should schedule the following visit. For example, the coach may have participated in the family's lunchtime routine during the current visit, but next time she needs to plan her visit later in the day when the older brother comes home from school so she can support the parent around how the siblings play together.
The characteristic of observation involves both the coach watching the parent's interaction with the child and the parent observing the coach interact directly with the child. The purposes of the coach's interaction with the child may be ongoing assessment or to try or figure out how well a strategy might work before the parent tries it. When the coach uses modeling, she must ensure that the parent knows what she is watching and why the coach is trying a particular strategy.
Action and practice overlap with the characteristic of observation because if the coach is trying something with the child, the parent should be observing, and if the parent is involved directly with the child, then the coach is observing prior to helping the parent reflect on how well the particular action worked and/or providing feedback. Action practice occurs during the early intervention visit as well as between the visits when the parent is implementing the joint plan as part of the family's everyday activities in which the child's participation is being encouraged and supported.
The characteristic of reflection is a capacity-building process intended to point out what the parent or care provider already knows or does, as well as to assist the parent in generating new ideas and creating a plan for using the existing or new knowledge and skills in current and future situations. Coaches typically use 4 types of reflective questions. Awareness questions are used to determine what the parent or care provider already knows, understands, and/or is doing. Analysis questions assist the parent in thinking about what is not readily apparent, to make comparisons, and to consider what is or is not working. Alternative questions are used to generate new ideas, options, and possibilities. Action questions assist in the formulation of the joint plan related to what the parent or care provider is going to do within a particular activity, situation, or circumstance.
Coaches tend to provide 4 different types of feedback. Informative feedback involves sharing of new information, ideas, and expertise by the coach. Affirmative feedback lets the parent or care provider know that the coach hears, understands, and acknowledges what is being said without making any type of judgment. Evaluative feedback provides encouragement and includes such words and phrases as good, great, and I like how you did that. Directive feedback is telling the parent or care provider what to do. Whereas the first 3 types of feedback may be used as needed and appropriate throughout a coaching interaction, directive feedback should be withheld for situations of clear, present, and imminent danger. Most other circumstances can be addressed through promoting reflection on the part of the parent or by providing one of the 3 other types of feedback.
For more information about the 5 characteristics of coaching, follow the link on this slide.
Remember, for coaching to have the intended consequences, all 5 of the research-based characteristics must be present, and it should be a very interactive 2-way process, including dialogue and action between the coach, the parent or care provider, and the child. No one person in the partnership has all the information or answers, but rather both parties have knowledge, information, and skills that will assist the parent in reaching the intended outcome.
This topic just scratches the surface of coaching as an interaction style used with a parent or care provider in early intervention. For further information about how to use this practice, review the tips and techniques for effective coaching interactions at the link on this slide.
People often have misconceptions about the use of coaching in early intervention. These misconceptions range from coaching only being useful for certain families or types of disabilities to it being watered-down service delivery, hands-off, and hierarchical. Find out the facts about coaching by following the link on this slide.
Think about how you typically interact with family members and other care providers. How consistent is your interaction to the characteristics of coaching as described in this topic? Use the Coaching Practices Rating Scale available at this link to analyze the extent to which you use indicators of the coaching characteristics as part of your work with families.
Now we would like for you to view 2 video clips involving a family of a child with Down syndrome that demonstrate the characteristics of a coaching interaction style. In the first video, Christy, the primary service provider, uses open-ended reflective questions to ask Dustin's mother about the previous plan, as well as to get started on the plan for this visit. Following this brief interaction, the parent, primary service provider, Dustin, and his brother went over to feed the chickens. During the observation of feeding the chickens, Christy and Dustin's mother explore all the different learning opportunities that happen as a part of this activity setting, and how this promotes his language, motor, cognitive, and social-emotional development. Christy models, and then Dustin's mother practices helping him to scoop the feed and call the chickens. They also discover his interest in choosing activities he likes to do. The second video illustrates how they followed his lead to enjoy some time playing together in the dirt, and contains a discussion of how this is helping his development. Christy and Dustin's mother then discuss their joint plan for what will happen between visits and at the next visit.
Well, hey Christina, how are you today?
Good, you?
I see y'all are outside and everybody's playing. I guess we can go back to our plan from last visit that you were interested in learning ways of keeping Dustin closer to you when you were outside at play, and kind of focusing on some of the interests that he has while he's outside. So what have you tried since last visit?
As long as we keep him interacted, going, he stays with us. We just been on top of him constantly, keep him busy.
What are some of the ways you've been able to keep him busy?
Playing with him. We've been down to feed the animals. We play ball with him. As long as his brother's here and keep him busy.
Would it be okay maybe if we tried some of those things out so I could kind of see how those work?
That sounds good.
Okay. Well, what would you like to try first? What do you think he'd be interested in doing right now?
I think they're ready to feed the animals.
Ready to feed the animals. Okay, cool. Let's go feed some animals.
Alright.
I think he does enjoy that, and his brother seems to be very helpful as well.
See the middle one? That's a rooster.
That's your rooster?
And those 2 are the hens.
And I noticed when Dustin's throwing that, he's getting opportunities to throw, and he's also making some sounds. Do you notice that he talks to the chickens when he's down here feeding them?
Yeah, he'll make the clucking noises they do.
One of them reached out and picked him on the hand yesterday.
That's very good.
Yesterday or the day before? Oh, yeah.
And I see that his brother kind of keeps him engaged in the activity.
He looks up to his big brother.
He looks up to his big brother. He's a great big brother.
One day he put his hands through the wire and one of the chickens picked him in the hand.
Did you help him out with that?
No, I was in school.
Oh, you were at school.
What are you doing, buddy?
Well, based on feeding the chickens, is there something that you have to work on outside that you would be kind of close to here, so that this is something they could, an activity they could do, and you could get some things done outside?
And after this, you'll see some big jobs I teach him.
You teaching some big jobs?
Yeah. Get around that big old dog.
Oh.
He tries to jump.
He's learning all kinds of great things from climbing it.
I've really not tried nothing.
Okay. Hot.
There's something we could try.
We're almost done, Daddy.
Throw it in there.
And he heard the dog barking. Did you notice how he started making sounds back when he was barking? He loves the puppy. Do they kind of communicate back like that?
Yeah.
That's really neat, and that really encourages his language expression too.
This topic has provided basic information about use of a coaching interaction style in early intervention. For more information, please take a look at these resources, most of which are available on the fipcase.org website. You have now finished Topic 6, which concludes this web-based learning module.